my ability. So we are live, and yeah, something happened. We went live, and I switched it off. I can't see the comments now. Okay, can you see me going live? Have you seen?
I'm not, I can check if you want, but it says that it's live on Facebook and I can check on my phone if you want.
Yeah, I can. I can. So at least I can see the comments now. All right, because a lot of people will turn up, and then I need to see their live comments. I'm just clicking on that. So we are live. Yeah, you can see we are live.
Yep,
Just
I
give me
see it.
one. Yes, yeah. Now the chat box is up because they turn up and we are live. Good evening, everybody. I know I'm a little more like usually I'm done with the interview by this time, but because of our time zone so different, I've come live for the first time at this time. But it's all good because I think even more new people are going to join in. For people who are always missing in, I think I will see you in comments today. They were beautiful, beautiful, and don't mind my cold. We have a beautiful, beautiful mom here, Kinia. Kinia, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Oh, thank you so much, Ika. Well, thank you for having me. This conversation is so special. It brings me back to my roots of traveling all over the world. So this brings such an international flavor. It's only 7:30 here in Canada. So I'm having my coffee. I'm in Alberta. I'm a mom of two boys who are 4 and 2. And I'm the founder of Pros and Babes, which is a company dedicated to empowering moms in corporate competitive STEM careers where burnout rates are high. So we help them take back command of their boundaries, their life trajectory, what they want in career and family, and then get promotions and raises, feel better in their parenting, feel calmer, happier. So it's such a blessing to be able to do this work.
Oh, I so love it. You know, since I've heard your interview with Brenda, I was like, um, it's just such a beautiful concept and so needed, Kenya. And that support is literally like a village support when you give that kind of a support to a mother. How did you
Yeah.
come up with this? What did you find around yourself that you thought that this is what I want to do and I want to start this? What led you
Yeah.
to start something like this?
A couple of things. One, my sister-in-law told me I would miss intellectual conversations while on maternity leave. And so I'm a nerd. I'm a bit of a geek. I have a multi-passionate background, but I always love talking with people, like sitting down with a good glass of wine and coffee and just talking about the world and the state of liberalism and the economy. And so when she said that, I like, it really hit home because I realized that maternity leave would be a very different experience, going from being at work, getting dressed up, putting on makeup and being with adults. So that's number one. And then number two, I was part of women in leadership organizations. And I realized that we didn't do anything that was mom friendly. All the events were cocktails after work, conferences at a time where you couldn't bring your kids. And so I wanted to do something about it. And I reserved prosandbabes.com. I thought pros and babies, right? Professionals and babies sounded fun.
Yeah.
And when I came back from a trip to Poland where I wanted my son to meet his great grandparents, which was wonderful because shortly after that, like I lost practically all of them. It was 4 a.m. He was sleeping. I was not sleeping. It was very strange. And so I put out this curriculum into the world, 8 weeks discussing career and motherhood and, like being a couple. And that's how it all started, with conversations about work and family and intimate groups. And essentially there's a bit of a longer story for a couple of years, but it planted a seed where I wanted to do this full time. And growing from like a small classroom, it grew into a virtual full year-long program where moms can look at a very holistic approach to life, and it's nice when I think of India, I think of kind of like holistic spirituality, and maybe that's a complete stereotype, I know there's, but I feel like a kind of holistic approach to life, and that's what we do in the Mom BA program. When you're young, you're often asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's just a career question, but there's so many other domains of life, right? Like, what kind of spouse do you want to be if you're going to be in a partnership? What kind of parent do you want to be? Who do you want to be spiritually?
Right.
What does your health look like, right? So for moms to reclaim all of their identity, they actually have to define their desires in each area. And so that's the nutshell story of how this came to life.
Yeah. So it's interesting that both of us are finding a lot of common things. I love to chat up. See, I'm going in chatting up to 100 moms now across the world through the interviews and introducing. It was just not, for me, it was just not, okay, I'm doing a book. I will reach out to send me a picture, you send me a story, and we are done. Right? For me, it was the conversations, introducing, and more of it will come. I want these 100 moms to have a community together so that they can speak to each other. And the fact is that mothers across the world are absolutely the same, just in different shades. That's what I call them. That the shades are different, but the problem, the feeling, how they're
Yeah.
dealing with it, there's a lot of similarity. And I think the culture and the country doesn't matter anymore in the modern times, because through and through, when I was doing all the research, I found that, my God, like, Kinia is just talking the same language. Even if I'm in India, she's talking the same language that I'm talking here. And of course, we are in big modern cities. And yes, India does still retain the holistic approach of uh, what are you going to be, what the spouse, though we are also becoming very western in many ways, but yes, we do retain very proudly spirituality does exist in us.
Yeah.
You lean onto it. We do have options of leaning onto it, either through our religion, through culture, through many things. And that's what I thought, that probably because we are so holistic, we are so,
Hmm.
that is why mothers here feel the way they feel about so many things. But I was like, no, this is like the mother's pearl, irrespective of you being in India or not. And hence the self-portrait movement, hence, the fact that a camera made me realize that the chatter which is going on is a
Yes.
constant chatter that stops us from, uh, constantly taking the next step, to moving forward, to feeling nice, to even thinking that we're not stuck. And very interestingly, I don't know how that thing came. I don't know, one of the conversations, the elephant. I've taken it from that interview. I don't know what, I'm forgetting all the interviews as well. Sarah is here. Good morning, and she's from Canada. Sarah is here from Canada. So good
Good
morning,
morning.
Sarah. You should meet Sarah's retreat. Like, go and, if you're close by, she has a beautiful retreat. You're planning to travel. Sarah has a beautiful, beautiful retreat, and she's
Let's
amazing.
connect. I'll look
Yeah,
at the comments after.
you must connect to Sarah. We have Debbie from Canada. So I don't know where I was. Wherever I was, I lost the minute I saw
The
Sarah.
chatter, the
Yeah.
chatter,
So I was
the
talking
chatter
about,
and the similitudes. Yeah.
yeah. So this whole chatter that was stopping us from living our dreams, and that's how this project started. And I realized that chatter is constantly there, not only in front of the camera, but it is constantly there all the time. Like, I find it all the time. In spite of heading this movement, I still find it, and I still feel
Yeah.
that we need to keep resolving it. So what do you think? You work with mothers, right? And this whole, and what you've said it beautifully. You said that there are no spaces, and you feel that, oh my God, now I'm going to be stuck. So that fear already enters. In fact, somebody just asked me recently, is it worth it being a mom? Because she's trying to be a mom. And she just asked me, is it worth it trying to be a mom and just heading such a movement? And I said, I don't want to answer that question for you, because even if you're asking that, you need to ask where the fear of the fact that you're very fearful, you're going through wanting to be a mom, but you're scared. And the scared was this, that will I be able to do what I'm doing, the professional stuff, etc., etc. So, what's the chatter? Why is this chatter? What have you found dealing with mothers when this kind of chatter starts coming in?
Uh, I love this question so much because what we do is rescript that chatter. Most people, a big discovery for me was that you can actually have command of your thoughts in a large capacity. For
Right.
most of my life, I thought I couldn't. You can control like your breath or what you put in your mouth, but I thought your thoughts are just an automatic thing. And for most people, they are. So, what we actually do in the community is rescript. We obviously explore some pains from the past. I encourage therapy for that, if for like more serious digging, but there's exploring the past and forgiving it. And then in every single module, we actually script what we want and we affirm it, we declare it, we set intentions, we create these vision boards. They're very high level vision boards with that represent what we want people to say about us in 25 years, right? So it's kind of a very profound experience to take a step back and think in 25 years, this is what my daughters or sons will say about our life growing up together.
Right.
When we're in the immediate of the diapers or the cleaning or the kitchen, the laundry, and then getting dressed for work, we're on the hamster wheel and we're in this overabundance and overwhelm, and we forget what's important. So
Right.
when we take a step back and think, well, what am I actually building here? And then you start aligning your actions and your chatter, because you have to, your thoughts produce your reality. I'm sure
Right.
you discuss this in some of your interviews with your coaches.
Yeah.
And so we go through this process of reclaiming what you want. And when you became a mother, everything changed for you. It's a process called matrescence.
Yeah.
And that's the number one thing we kind of the starting point in our community is you've become a mother. Let's look at your values as a mother. What matters to you right now? To you, not just to the previous generation, because they had different challenges, but what matters to you? What are your values? And if you can live a life aligned with your values, to me, that's success.
Right.
So once you know your values, you can start reshaping that chatter. You can start asking yourself questions instead of saying, well, is formula good or breastfeeding good? Or am I good or a bad mom for doing it this way? You
Right.
look at your values and you say, okay, I want to be a loving, calm, faithful mother, and XYZ is important to me. So whatever choice I make aligns with my values. That's my calling, and it's okay. And you start looking inside and creating your destiny instead of having all those outside norms,
Yeah.
just crushing your spirit, because you can never live up to somebody else's standards. And I believe that you shouldn't. We all have a
Yeah.
script inside of us, our like sacred calling on this earth. And what more magical than the transformation of motherhood
Oh yes.
to re-explore that, right?
Yes.
Is
And
that your experience,
oh, absolutely,
Nika?
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I'm loving the fact that you're saying the same thing. The only thing is that I started it from a very small space of a camera, and the same thing happens. Even so, the camera, what was happening was that it was not the camera as such that was getting, and I photographed moms for 20 years, and it was just that chatter that suddenly got activated at many levels about what will this one say. And I started calling in some of my I did some Zoom sessions before I started this project about self-portrait, about my journey, and I called it the resistance sister because and everybody asked me, why did you call her resistant sister against camera? So I told them that because our sisters are the first ones who come and tell us, oh, your dark circles have come in, what you've been doing, you've not been taking care of yourself, what's happening to you. So it's a very sisterly thing, right? It's a very
Yeah.
friend sisterly. So that resistant sister comes and sits right next to us and says, I don't think so, you should go out right now, look at yourself, like, or you should not be in front of the camera. Even if you're dying to take that hug and take a camera with your child, even at that time this chatter comes up and says, look at your face, like in the selfie, the minute you see that, and I'm like, look at the dark circles, forget about it, like, let's just, and you just drop
Yeah.
it. Even in that moment of that one, when you want to hug up, take a picture, the chatter is so amazing, and the resistant sister sitting next to us keeps telling us not to do it. And that's just the one of the things that stops, like, this one of the things of many things that we stop ourselves from. And this resistant sister comes and sits every time and trying to be nice to us, saying that you're not ready, look at yourself, maybe you need some rest, maybe you don't need to do this, or maybe, but all that is just resistance, because all that is just constantly telling us that it's not possible, because now you become a mom, or your body is not the same, your face is not
Mm.
the same, and you will have to answer so many questions. And that's what I like about you when you said live your own value, right? Stand up and live your, like, even today, uh, I'm still breastfeeding my second 2-year old, right? And he's not leaving it.
So am I.
Yeah, I know. That's a common thing, but this child is not ready right now, and because I'm going through this project, he's not ready, right? Because he needs that thing, some time from me, and I've told myself, okay, at least the next 53 moms when you're interviewing, it's all right, let him be, because I go away from him. But that too is like the first question sometimes I get, he's 2 years old, isn't he supposed to sleep through the night by now? Is it not this, is it not that? And that time I think somebody like you really helps, because you're saying, stand up to your value. I want to do this for my child, I want to wean him off in the most nicest way possible, I want to wean him off as an experience which was good for me and for him. That's my value. So
Yeah.
finding that and you helping mothers, it's incredible, Kenya. Like you coming up with a project or a company like that, really hats off to you. I think you will give more support to mothers, where mothers can come up and say, and you can tell them you're okay. Like it's all okay. It's your value, not my Shikha's value or Kenia's value or Sarah's value. You know, Farida is also here. She's amazing as well. Farida, thanks for being here every time. So moving on, like you've been speaking. I heard your interview and you were talking about some great things and mothers can do when they can start from a point. And what is the starting point? Yes, I love the fact you've spoken about the value, and I think that's the most important thing. But what's the next step? How can mothers move forward to even feeling that they need this help from Kenya or from anybody else or this project, you know?
Well, thank you for asking that question. So, reclaiming that power is number one, and then committing to discovering yourself truly, I think, is the next step. I break it up into small pieces. So I've organized this body of knowledge to make it more accessible over time. Because if I show you the whole list of what the mothers I work with go through, the first reaction would be huge overwhelm. So we break it up in bite-sized pieces. But I would say this, like there's 12 pillars we cover, and the first four are mindset, relationships, support systems, and finances. I mean, there are a few more, but these are kind of quite foundational when it comes to defining yourself. I would say as a working mom, my belief is that we cannot do it alone and we shouldn't even try. I'll be super honest. If you're trying to be superwoman at work and at home and not outsource help, it's a recipe for disaster for you and for your family.
Yes,
Um,
I agree.
so then the kind of like the pathway is mindset, values, principles, vision, right? And so we map out that long-term vision that allows you to step off the hamster wheel and take the pressure off of having everything done right now. We kind of think I have all these goals and they must happen in the next 3 months, but why? They don't. So if you take a step back and prioritize what you value, you can all of a sudden tell yourself like, oh, what's the rush? What's the rush?
Yeah.
So I would say the vision, the values, and the principles, it's a framework that we really accelerate in our community. And I mean, if women want to find out more, they are welcome to book a chat with
Put your
me.
link on after this.
Yeah.
Send me your link and I'll put it under the interview for that for sure.
My
Go ahead, go ahead.
objective this fall is just more conversations and more impact. So in the last few months, we've had a few deaths in my family, including my father passing away in my arms quite unexpectedly, and I'm an only child, so it's just is quite the experience. And then my grandmother, and just recently my uncle, and it's so reinforced my beliefs that we have to live an intentional life. It's maybe a privilege for me to say that, and I'm sure it is. Not everybody has the luxury to get off the hamster wheel, and if you're in survival mode, then it's hard to sit down and reflect on those things. But for those of us who have the chance, and who have the opportunities to reflect on our talents, I don't think we should just stay on the hamster wheel of working to pay the bills and to buy more stuff, and and leave everything unexamined. So going back to a conversation, like, understand matrescence. It's like adolescence. You've changed so much. Celebrate it, honor it, acknowledge it, and use it as an opportunity to pivot into expansion. Don't let motherhood be a force of self-doubt and shrinking and always thinking, am I doing this right or wrong? You are just beautiful, right? Tap into your heart, lean into others, and use others as a mirror into your soul, not as opinions of what you should be doing.
I like that. I like that. Just give me 1 second. I need to switch off the fan, otherwise I'll start sneezing. Just give me 1 second.
That's sure. That's okay.
You know.
And I can't wait to see the comments and connect with everybody who's listening in.
Yes, they'll more should join in. Uh, so like what I love, and this is what I am discovering through like whatever you just said, Kenya, it's just so apt that you just said that we don't need to figure out what different opinions are and look at it as somebody showing us that this is what you're becoming, and rather than taking it personally and saying that, oh my god, I'm being judged, or and also the fact that you said that if if we can go off the hamster wheel, because I am realizing with this project, and now you're the 53rd mom, and many mothers can't. Like, I've been speaking in the background as well to interview many mothers, and many mothers can't because their childhood interferes. And you did say that you need therapy for it. A lot of things interfere in why they're on a hamster wheel, and why that becomes a comfortable place for them, why that is a place they like more than stepping out and working,
Mm,
because there would be more breakdowns, and there's a fear that if that breakdown happens, what will happen to our children. Rather just let keep just running and pretending everything is okay, because so much happens to you once you become a mother that even the stepping back will need some work. And if the work is a deep work and a painful
mm,
one, that's not the time. Most mothers think that it's the time to really do that work. Let the kids grow up, we'll figure it out. Even if it's coming up, we start putting it down, and it comes up and we put it down. And it's amazing that you are approaching it with that non-judgmental thing, one size fits all, because it doesn't. Some mothers are privileged to go and become meditative and do things, and some just can't. It takes so much effort. So glad you said that, and I love the point of the fact that others' opinions could be just a mirror, and take that as just somebody showing you that maybe this is what's happening and you want to do something about it.
yeah.
And I can see that you feel the pain of these mothers, and I can see that you also realize that each mother is just a shade. That's what I'm telling everybody. Like when I started this, I was still a little judgmental towards myself, and a little bit of opinion that this is still okay, this is not okay. But now I look at a mother, and I look at Rohit, who's my husband, sometimes, even if on the streets, and I see something which I feel a little odd, but the only thing that comes to my mind is just another shade of mother. That's it, just another shade of mother. So, what's
Yeah.
going on with her? We don't know. Nobody knows
We
what's.
never know the backstory. We don't know what scripts and chatter are driving her, what she experienced, what kind of trauma or loss might be behind. Like, I remember the couple of days, after I had lost my father, and I felt like this zombie. And I remember going to try to buy some coffee or something, and I just, at the cash, I just broke down and cried so much. And there's some women who approached me and asked, like, are you okay? And I said, you know my dad just died, and I just thank you for your care. And I was there with my mask, and all of that, like, going in. And so many people right now are carrying the grief and loss, whether through COVID or other illnesses, or like COVID has amplified the stress, but we just see their faces, right? And I'm not always crying on the street, but like, I was this energy walking around with carrying such pain in my heart, and yet often just getting dressed and functioning on the day to day. So we never know what somebody is carrying behind them, if they have had any support to process what they've experienced and who they are. And every single journey is so different and beautiful and sacred. And I think one message I want to leave for mothers wherever they are is that your unique story matters, your treasure matters. Whatever pain and suffering you're experiencing, it's not insignificant. There's always a seed planted there to kind of transform it into a force of love. And perhaps you're not going to see it for a long time,
Yeah.
but you're special and you're unique and you matter. And that's the message.
And here's something very interesting, Kinia, and I'm going to say it, though I'm live and everything, but this is a very honest place that comes in. For a very, very long time when I was a kid, I was always called this positively positive human being, in spite of
Mm,
my own childhood or whatever. That I always, like, people always said, and that's my work showed it as well. I think my work has got lost in these 53 interviews. I've not even posted it. I was thinking, I need to come back as a photographer. I need to show that I am a photographer, not a chatterbox only. But that's, um, but I was called a very positively positive person, and people around me always saw me struggling with trying to save somebody or the other.
mm,
Since I was a kid, like to the
yeah.
extent that I would just get the whole doubt. If my I got a call, and during that time there were no mobile phones, I got a call that, oh, my friend is not reached home, and I got my father, I got the whole house, I reached her house, we searched, and I was maybe in grade six or something, and she just was on her terrace sleeping. She went up to sleep in the terrace, and I had called the bus people, and I just did everything, and I was always like that, trying to
Yeah.
save people, people and trying to figure out that. I always thought that, I don't know how that seed got planted, that there's always a better, there's always something, there's somebody can be saved. To the extent I used to tell people when I was young that even criminals can be saved, that like there's always a story behind everybody who's going everywhere. But to my, like, I'm 40, turning 40. There's one more little thing that I've added. Of course, you become wiser and you keep going up and you just keep having your experiences and you put your hands everywhere and you realize it. And I don't know it's an appropriate thing to say or not. You also find people of point of no return, like they have crossed that line. And it pains me a lot when I see that, because now I've started to recognize it after. You want to say hello to is your baby here?
And I think maybe it was just the wind. So if they come in, I will for sure. They might barge in, which is totally okay.
So, this is there was this point of like no return. And when I became a little more wiser, I stopped this whole thing of trying to save the world and everybody and anybody, and just leave it at that they've crossed the line. It's very tough to get. And for me, I don't know for anybody else, maybe some other person needs to save them. Do you feel things like that happen? Do you feel any mother that you found, or not like taking names, but do you find some mothers who have just crossed that return, like they can't be brought back, at least in the present time? Do you find difficult situations like that in your career, or you haven't yet?
Well, I've seen, I mean, not too terribly difficult. Again, I almost feel like this circumstance with COVID maybe has reinforced patterns and circles. So I get to be surrounded by women who are really committed to personal development, which again, is a bit of a bubble. But I see some people really resisting changing their approach to things and their patterns. They just do not want to take help. They stay stuck, and I see them year after year talking about the same problems, reproducing the same patterns, and it's kind of strange. It's like a deja vu all the time, right? So I do see that. Not everybody wants to go on this journey of peeling back the layers, of examining how they want to live. As you mentioned, it can be too painful. It's sometimes you have to literally break down to build yourself back up, and you don't necessarily want to do that in front of your kids. But I don't know what's worse, like staying intact and just moving forward with patterns, or living a life of conscious values. For me, it's so important to be able to explain to my kids, I did what I did because of these values, because these are our beliefs. So there are a couple of core things that are critical, and I try to be consistent in them. And I'm absolutely not perfect. Like, you might have this idea. I mean, I have my makeup on, and my husband is right now with the kids downstairs. This did not happen overnight. This was the discernment of our values and principles together. Like yesterday, he stayed home with them because they weren't feeling so great, right? And it's something that we have worked out together, that it wouldn't, sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. And same thing for the first week of school, our day home was closed due to COVID related stuff. So we found a solution together. And so, on the surface, and especially that picture that you see, right? People always saying that's an Oscar. And it's not like every single day looks like that. I really wanted to create kind of a picture that was a mix of aspirational but reality. And, I don't want women to look at that and think this is how I have to be every single day. And I think I wanted to embody that you can be both. And then, you see my son kind of making this little funny face. And so just because you see me like this doesn't mean that I'm not processing hard things, or that there aren't difficult days, or that I have behaviors that I'm not proud of. And I know I'm making a long circular tangent to your question of, is there a point of no return? Yeah, I see people just kind of trapped in Groundhog Day, doing the same thing over and over again, and being afraid to actually take a step back and stop making excuses, because there's a point where you can repeat 10 reasons why you are the way you are because of your childhood. But then when you're kind of in your 30s and your 40s, you have to decide, am I going to be those past stories, or am I now claiming my own destiny and scripting my future? And some people just don't want to do that. They don't have the time. Maybe there's too much pain. Maybe there's circumstances. And that's, I guess, is it really a choice? I don't know. Perhaps, I'd say, but for some, maybe it's a default, and I don't want to judge that either.
Yeah, and sometimes it's none of these as well, Kinia. I also feel sometimes they've just not they've just not crossed paths with somebody who cares, who can
It's
say,
true.
stop,
Yeah.
stop. A lot of time, I'm telling you, I'm judged a lot of times. Said, why do you have, like, just recently, my husband would like called me, like, my friend wants to do um, whole food plant based venture, and he wants to talk about it. And because I've just done 4 years of transformation in the family, of reversing autoimmune. So I have my, very. So I was listening to him, and I just kept on seeing that he's apologizing for sugar again and again and again. Sugar is there in the bar, but sugar. So I said, you remove, you like, out of all the ingredients, 95% is absolutely brilliant ingredient. Yes, you're still using sugar, but don't be apologetic about it when you're talking to people. And like, Rohit was looking at me, he's like, why do you have to tell him that? I said, because I'm helping him by saying this very candidly to him. My intention is to help him. And later he did
Yeah.
message say that helped me, because I said, maybe today you're using sugar, but maybe once you get the money you've invested, and then you can remove this and even keep going higher. So don't be so hard. All of us start becoming so hard on ourselves. We've done
Yeah.
so much transformation as mothers, but still this much is left. So we will keep apologizing for it. We'll keep saying that, and it happens with screen on me. Like, it happens to me. I find myself doing it. I've done so and so and so, but because I'm taking care of this one and the younger one doesn't let me do anything, and I have to go to live, I have to give screens, and I feel guilty about it, and I'm unable to solve it. But I will keep apologizing to it. If I meet a expert of parenting, I will apologize even more. I find myself doing it, and I find many mothers doing it, because it happens. There's something that we can't do right, and then we'll keep apologizing to it ourselves, to others, to explain, because we are those mothers who are trying to take that journey, that way. So
Mm.
we are very hard on ourselves every which way, and sometimes somebody needs to cross our path and say, maybe today's interview does that to me. Today's interview says, and Kinia said, okay, Shikha, you can do something. And you become, because you decided to speak out loud and reach out your hand and say, Shikha, that's the help I need to know. Melanie is here. Melanie will join us. She will reach out and she will say, Shikha, and I'll tell you a very interesting story, Kinia, and you will love it, because you're a mom. And I was talking to Melanie one day. She's one of our pillars. And my son came in the middle of the call, and he had these black and white sketches, and I was again apologizing for the fact that my son does not use color. And I'm like, maybe I've raised him in such a thing that maybe he doesn't like color. What is wrong with him? He does such great sketches in color. So happens, I was apologizing, I think, in a conversation with Melanie, and I was just, she's a parenting expert, and I said, well, I don't see why I don't know why he's such a beautiful artist and he doesn't use color. So she knows me very well, and she looked at me and she's like, you really don't know why he uses color? So I was like, yeah, I don't know. Like, I wonder and I wish he does. And he's like, there's another person in his family who doesn't use color. And I'm like, who's that? How do you know? And he's like, you, because I'm a black and white photographer. And the penny dropped, in my head at that time. It just dropped. It was such an aha moment, because I've been told so many times, why do you shoot so much black and white? And I keep saying that I don't like color, you know. And nothing, I just love black and white photography, and I've been doing that forever. My portraits are known. I'm a known black and white photographer. And then I stepped out and I told my son and I told Rohit about it. Let's test it. And I said, so Shaurya, I mean, this is beautiful. And he again colored it gray, and we went ahead. And Rohit is like, your mom does so much, color photos, and she's so good. Would you like to do color? And he's like, no, she doesn't. And he just started pointing out all around in the living room. That's black and white, that's black and white, that's black and white. So it already noticed at the age of 7 that I
Yeah.
was doing it. So, and at that time I changed it, and now he uses color, because they're imitating us. And hence they're imitating us
Yeah.
with our self-image. They're imitating us with our bravery. They're imitating us with, and this book, they are going to imitate this, because they would want to be in a book honored one day. Once these mothers are honored in this book, it'll go into their system when they open, and they're like, remember that day when this book came and it opened and my mom was in that honored. And that's why this project, because they will know how to honor their mothers, themselves, and the effort. But that's just a story that came to me because we were talking about it.
I
So,
love it.
with self-portrait, have you dealt anybody having issues with pictures, like just inquisitive because you deal with so many mothers?
I'm trying to think it's funny because as part of the program, we actually have photography sessions last year, not this year anymore, but most of the moms, we have a culture here where people love taking photos. And so traditions of Christmas cards and, you know, everybody takes pictures in the fall to have Christmas cards. So I can't really say too much that I've had, and especially with COVID, like not seeing people for, I don't know, a year and a half. So I can't really trace. I can only think people actually do enjoy having pictures taken of them.
Yeah, some people. I'm talking about mothers, like, because that's been my common thread here. That
Yeah,
even if they come for their children's sake, for the memory's sake, do they like? It's an interesting question to somebody maybe ask your forum
yeah,
sometimes. How many of
yeah.
them actually like their pictures taken? Um, and
It
I've
is an interesting question. I should ask my community, and I'm sure that there's some that who are going to say no, not really, right?
you know, I hope they just some and not majority, because my what's happening is majority slowly, some of them who say yes as well, we enjoy, and then they slowly come on to say, you know what, not at this time, and not at this time, and not when I was a mother, and not when I was this age, and not when I was fat. So all that starts again, the chatter starts around if you dig in
Yeah,
3 4 questions deep. So it's an interesting thing. I would love to know, Kenya, what your community says, because this will only make this research more stronger.
yeah,
Before this, I wanted to actually start a self-portrait session for mothers. Like, that's how this whole thing started, because I wanted to teach
yeah.
them how to do self-portrait, and I had no idea they were so scared of self-portrait. It would come to you as well, and I would love to know your experience as well, because you're coming to this orbit now, and you and your camera are going to talk as well, and we'll see what happens with you. And I'm waiting for your pictures, because your
I'm
pictures
excited.
so powerful, what you've designed in
Thank
that
you.
picture of the 2 kids. It is one of the most powerful pictures of the moms I've seen. Very clear, with the message. So I'm really looking forward to what you're going to come up with, Kenya.
Oh, thank you. Well, if you don't mind, if we have time, I tagged the name of the photographer in the comments, and we actually have the same name. I mean, I go by Kinia, she goes by Kinga, and so this photo was taken during our summer vacation over a year ago. So in a really nice part of Canada, and we took quite a bit of time to do a portrait of me, like not just the pictures that you saw, but a portrait that I really wanted to capture the different aspects of my personality. So we did it over and over again. We had to try different music and kind of different things just to go for exactly what I wanted, that had, you know, joy, but intelligence and a little bit of sexiness, right? And so we had tons of fun that day. And it was being able to create that experience was, you know, I had planned that vacation for almost a year. I had booked it a year ahead. And that's symbolic of what I ask the moms in my community to do is please put some time on the calendar for yourself. Please do that to reconnect with your soul, because otherwise your calendar will get filled from demands from everyone else. So this photo, it took quite a while to build, right? Like months of putting it on the calendar, being with our friends. She had a studio inside of her house, being actually rested enough. It's a very curated photo, very aspirational. It's not a representation of everything that goes on in reality, but it's a reminder of like the most energetic parts of me, right? So
Yeah.
when I start with moms who are sometimes so tired, and I say just go and put on lipstick in the morning just for fun, as a kind of a ritual, as a moment of brightening yourself up, whatever, like have some fun with it, right? Building your routine, it can be symbolic to even most of us
Yes.
on our wedding day. If you got married, like I love to use the pictures from their wedding days to do a vision board, because it captures being a princess, and it's just fun. Tap into that energy of fun and join something really unique, right? So every day we can claim more and more of that until we are that joy for others. And what, you know, what most beautiful gift to give to our children than a mom who's joyful and has energy and has zest for life? Like, I think when I thought about myself as a mother, and many mothers say, I want to be a joyful, curious presence. I want to have fun with my kids, right? I think that's the brightest side of motherhood,
Yes,
if we can
yes.
access that.
I think
Yeah.
all mothers want that, and they struggle a lot of times because there's so much struggle that's happening. But what I love, Kenia, right now is that you've curated this picture. And this project is about that. You literally, it's literally like your self-portrait. Of course, this is another photographer's done it. I would have used this picture as it is into the book because it's so powerful. But because this is a self-portrait and we're trying to do, a thing with self-portrait and discovering ourselves and our story again, maybe we will get something even stronger. And that's what I'm trying to tell. That's what I love about your picture, because this is what each and every page is going to be curated. What you like, you just, I want to be sexy, I want to be, I wanted to show my kids, I wanted to show I'm a professional, I wanted to show everything. And you've already built that story around that picture, and see how powerful that picture is. It is a very, I don't think so how often you use it, but it is a very powerful statement. And that is where my vision of this book is, that every page that opens makes that powerful statement of that mom, and she can reach there, with making. And it's happening slowly, slowly, it's happening. It was tough. It was tough for these mothers to say, okay, go ahead, and now your interview is done, go ahead, give it to me. And I was pushing like 100 days, etc., etc. But inside my heart, I knew it was tough to curate this one shot, which is them, to create these 300-400 words, which is them, and then through them inspiring the world, you know. So to
What a
detach,
beautiful project. What a and I'm so excited for the friendship that we are forming. I'm one day I want for our parts of the world to connect, whether it's in Canada or in India. And
oh yes,
what a beautiful project, truly, and an
anything,
artistic passion and
even
a
virtually,
discovery.
yeah, even virtually, if it happens, Kinia, I'm more than happy to introduce you to more moms here, and meet a different kind of society altogether, to communicate, to learn. I'm sure you would want to learn more. I can see a lot of common stuff between you and me. I love to learn and push myself a little more, and that's why I did not do this an Indian mothers project. I wanted to do it global. And imagine, I've just met you recently. I'm making connections. I've met some of the women just a month back, and I can feel them even through these screens. So that's how beautiful it is. And if we can inspire through these 100 pages some mothers, with 100 shades, it would be so beautiful. So
I
what's
think
your
so.
dream?
I really can't wait. I can't.
I
Is
know,
there
I
kind
can't.
of an ETA for the book so I can start, even thinking, putting it in my calendar so we can share the message in our community on our
We
social
will.
media?
I just did a crazy thing. When you do crazy things, what you do is you just go and announce to the world. And one fine
Yes.
day, I just woke up from a hypnosis session, and Jamila is not here, but if she's going to be here, um, uh, you know, her session just made me do this. And I got up and I said, 100 days, 100 mothers. And then, I quietly, like a little cat, went into my room and was like, what did you just do? Do you want to just go and delete that? Like, what you just do? You said 100 mothers. Are you crazy? Like, yes, I know 100 mothers, and I was very confident with my chatter and conversation and everything. But do you realize you're talking about a real book with their stories, and leading 100 women to tell their stories and their this thing? It won't be easy. But I did not delete it. I said, we will go ahead and we'll figure it out. So I don't even know, like, I know for sure 100 interviews will be done on 100 days. We still 20-30 portraits, 20-30 stories coming in. You never know, something magical happens, and all 100 stories and 100 pictures are also done. If that's also done, then there'll be dates coming out of this is happening, then stuff like
Okay,
that. So a lot of
good.
the second phase will happen, because I would be pulling myself out from interviews and then building content around it. This itself was a massive thing I did. And I'm telling you, many, many times I wanted to say, only 10 mothers done turn back, like 50 mothers done turn back. And I've reached, you're the 53rd mom. We are going ahead, meeting such beautiful mothers and such beautiful stories. I'm so excited myself to see that book. And for me, I want to make a film of every mother opening that box and seeing her story in that thing. Like, I will urge every mom to not miss that moment when they open that box with their family, and not being honored as a professional or achieving some A to Z or something, but just being honored as one of the shades of mothers, of the 100 shades of mothers we discovered. Like, for me, compiling that film would be a very beautiful process. And I know it's going to be amazing. Your children's laughing, crying, seeing your mother in the book forever. It would be amazing.
Are
So,
we
what
allowed to have our kids in the photo? Or do you want just a
we
self-portrait
can do
individual?
anything. We will,
Anything?
like, it's your story, right? So I keep telling mothers, what's your story is your story, and do it unapologetically. Go ahead and just like, it's okay. I want to be with my camera and all the pictures of mothers I've taken till today, spotlighted. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but me all surrounded by my photos, because my camera has brought me till here to so many mothers. I don't know what I'm going to do with my picture, but my picture, I see that, because that's my statement of my story. And maybe my pictures of my children are going to be there, but I see my big camera lens, holding my big camera lens and photography and picture, because that's been me. And you see yourself with children, somebody else will see themselves walking, the kids are grown up and walking in the woods, and somebody is
Yeah.
jumping, like all sorts of stuff is happening. Some are hidden, some are not. Some really beautiful stuff is happening. I can't even wait to see what's unfolding page by
I'm
page.
very excited. I already have some ideas of what I do want to capture and have some fun with it and
Yes.
capture elements of myself that I don't bring out every single day. I see my battery's draining. So I want to say like thank you and goodbye before my computer literally shuts off in a second.
You're so much like me, Kinia. Oh my God. Even a lot of times in the middle of the interview, it's like, all right, Shika, wrap up, go to the dream question. What's your dream, Kinia? Quickly, let's go and ask your dream. What's your dream?
Oh
That's
my
final,
goodness, what's
because the
my
book is called
dream?
100 Self-Portrait, 100 Dreams. What's your dream? Let's go ahead and have that.
Well, it's more mothers in power when it comes to my work. More mothers in power to build a more mother-friendly world, truly, through my profession and through personal life. I want to live a life that is full of experiences that are rich with joy, and to be able to heal the trauma of my past, because I come from a country that's been war torn, and to transmute that into joy where I can be like a source of light and abundance for others, right? Heal myself, create joy, and then help others on their journeys as well. Obviously, with my children and my husband by my side, and like friends and family that I love, and just, yeah, so that's my
More
dream.
power to you. More power to you, Kinia. I'm really able to be a leader in a real way, going ahead with these moms. I can see you, or you're going to do a great job, because, and I'm telling you, your picture brought me to you. And that's what I'm telling so many mothers. That visual has such a power, that one moment that showed, and it's frozen forever, leading so many people in. I was just going through it and I just saw your picture and I'm like, that's her. She is it. She's in the book. She has to be in the book. Like, I didn't even speak to you. I knew that she has to be in the book, because I know the power of visual. I know the power of story, and you've already done that level of work. And more power to you, Kenya. I'm really looking forward to seeing your work as well. And like transforming so many mothers. Any way I can help, you'll have 100 moms to talk to here anyway, and build community from different parts of the world and different age groups. Anything that these moms can do, I know they will come forward to help you. And
Thank you.
anything,
And likewise,
yes,
likewise, truly, I can't wait to support this project and like help it really come to life. I love it. I thank you so much. Thank you for what you do, and thank you for this conversation. It feels
thank
very
you, Tina, for
special.
being you as well, and lots of love. It's a very unique thing, and I'm very happy that you're here. Um, I hand you over to one of the pillars, and I think she is also in Canada. I think so.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Francis,
Wonderful.
I think, is what she's not here. Francis is always here. She's not here. Sarah, is Francis in Canada? I know your battery's dying. If it dies, it's okay. I'll say bye to them later. Let it go till the end, the battery. So if Sarah tells us, so
Yeah.
so yeah, I have pillars with me. I'm handing over each mom to these pillars who are
Perfect.
tremendously working, and you can reach out to them for any help. There's a lot of workbooks. There's a lot of stuff that already is ready for you to view. I'm available. Oh, she's in the States. So she's in the States. Not very far, but she's in the States. Sarah is in Canada. You can meet Sarah. I don't know how far you are. Where are you, Kenya? Which part
I'm
of
in Edmonton. I grew up in
I don't,
Montreal, but I'm in Edmonton, Alberta.
Sarah will tell us where she is, and you should be
I'll
able to.
check the comments in a second after I replug my computer, because it'll probably just poof disappear in a second,
Debbie
but
will
that's
come in.
okay.
Debbie's from Canada as well, so she will also come in.
Amazing.
Thank you so much, Kenya. Your kids need you. My kids need me. Both of them are like struggling with fever and cough and cold, so we shall go back to them. I'm going to make them sleep. You're going to make them wake up, and then just two different worlds coming together. So
I
beautifully.
think my husband already took them out. They're better today. So, but yes, they're out. The house is quiet. It's
Yeah.
me and the world.
Just imagine two different
So
worlds. I'm going to make them sleep, and you're going to be starting
I
with.
know. Yeah. All right. Well,
Rose
thank you.
is Bonneville, so she's in.
Oh, seriously? She's Bonnyville, Alberta?
Yeah. So how
Oh,
far?
very close to me then. We're not far.
Sarah,
Yeah.
please go and meet Kinia.
Yes.
You just need to happen, right? Sarah is meeting a lot
Yeah.
of people who are close by as well. So here you already have
Amazing.
somebody you know through the project who's close by, and she was our 50th mom. So we danced together in the celebration of 50th mom. I really love her. I really love Sarah as well. Thank you, Farida.
Amazing.
You're another inspirational mom here who started her career at the age of 51, and
Wow. Yeah.
she's in Bollywood, and she's an actor. She's doing so well for herself as an actor, but she did take bold steps at the age of 51 to live her dream. So you have all the stories coming together, Kinia. Lots of love.
Amazing.
I'm going to go off live before I take you off.
Okay. All right. Thank
Yes.
you so much, Shika. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
1 second.
Bye.
Leave. Yes.